The new 2027 S-Class is here. It is a major facelift, and I'm about to show you side by side with the 2026 model just what is different, and then you tell me which of these two you like better. So here they are side by side. On the right of your screen is the 2027 S500. On the left of your screen is a 2026 S580. Now, V8 on the left, inline 6 on the right, but it doesn't change anything about the way the car looks, just the way it's going to drive and its power. The car on the left, the 2026, also is an AMG line, okay? The giveaway there is going to be this more aggressive lower valence here, the front apron, and those horizontal, I should say, slats in the faux intakes. And then this 2027 S500 is a luxury line, so you can see the lack of the horizontal slats on the faux intakes is your giveaway there that it is a luxury line. But just looking at these cars head on, you can see the big change is going to be the grille. So Mercedes-Benz on most of their new refreshes and redesigns are going towards these sort of heritage grills, these much larger, more vertical grills that we've had in the past. But unlike other manufacturers that have done this previously, there is historical context here. This is what Mercedes-Benz grills looked like in decades ago or decades past. So I've got to say, looking at these cars head on, I'm a big fan of this new grille. I think it suits the car very well. I think it makes it look very stately. So here's head on with the 2027. And then we're going to pan over to the 2026 model, and you can just see there's a lot more verticality in the 2027 grille. Now, the next big change, of course, is the headlights, and the internet has had a lot to say about these, the Mercedes-Benz stars in the headlights. I think they're subtle and tastefully done. I really like the way that they look. I'm a big, big fan. Here is the previous headlight. You can see that there is no star pattern there. And also, old grille, new grille. You can see that the Mercedes-Benz stars have very subtly been put throughout the grille pattern there. Again, I think that it's tastefully done. Unless you're right up on it, you almost can't tell exactly what it is. They just sort of look like a star effect, but it is the Mercedes-Benz star, of course. So I am a fan of the new front end, and I have to say that I like the way that the 2027 looks versus the 2026. So on the side profile, not going to be a direct comparison here because they're both not AMG models. So you've got a smaller wheel, a different wheel on this 2027, but let's go around to some other differences. So here on the side, we have new cameras. So this is going to be a side camera that doesn't exist on the 2026 model. And also under the mirror here, you can see camera here, camera there. Let's pan over to the 2026 model, and you will see that you have just one camera as part of the 360 system there. So as the driver assistance technology is rapidly improving and capabilities are improving, so too must the cameras. But around to the back for a moment, and you've got the star effect taillights. I'm also a huge fan of these. I think they're very tastefully done. I love the way they look. They are absent on the 2026 model. So the E-Class was the first Mercedes-Benz to get those taillights, and now they are working their way into other models, and I am a fan. Let me know what you think of the new taillights. Do you think it's too much? Do you think it was tastefully done? So let's go take a look at the previous interior. So this again is a 2026 model. Here is our door panel, diamond stitching. Now you'll notice that although this is a Burmester surround sound system, we don't have the aluminum finish speaker cover up here in the A-pillar. I just want to point that out. Here is our previous steering wheel with all touch capacitive controls and haptic feedback, and then you've got separation between your digital driver display and your telematics display in the center. Also, notice that we have wireless charging recessed under here because the location is going to be new for 2027. And this technology is MBUX. Okay, so let's fire up the car here for a moment if we can. It's going to cooperate, maybe not. Okay. So we're going to skip that. So here is what your kind of home display is going to look like in the MBUX screen. You've got these tiles across the bottom that we can scroll between. This is a little over a 10-inch display here. Home button is always going to bring you back here. Here's what the navigation looks like at first glance. And we do have some buttons here for dynamic select and some of our functionality, but volume control, these are all touch capacitive, okay? So there is a look at sort of your telematics and your cockpit layout. Steering wheel there, POV. Here is our roof. There's our overhead controls. And a look into the rear seat. Let's also take a look at the trunk to see if we can spot any differences there. Here is the trunk of the 2026 model. Notice you have a pass-through right there, should you choose to use it. All right, moving on to the 2027. Let's take a look inside here. Here is our door panel. Similar look, however, notice that this a bit more rounded than before. It integrates nicely with the edge of the dash there. And also still a Burmester surround sound system, but now a major upgrade to our A-pillar, an aluminum cover here for the Burmester system. So that looks very, very nice. And then you'll notice that we now have the super screen in the new S, which first debuted in the E-Class, and obviously a lot more screen, passenger display, wider than before, and a little bit, I would say, a cleaner integration of the dash to the center display telematics. Also completely new vent design here versus the old one. So let's take a look inside the new S. And we've got all new technology in here. Wireless charging has now been moved up to here, much more accessible than before, and space for 2 phones instead of 1. This area looks pretty similar to what we had before. We still have some physical controls here, but notice that these you can now slide, but there also is push touch capacitive buttons that work just as well. There is haptic feedback here, by the way. So that's feels very nice. It's very satisfying. I like that relative to what we had before. We don't want to turn off the air entirely. So here is the POV. Please touch the display. I can do that. And I don't have a Mercedes Me ID to link here, so I'm not going to be able to get a lot of the functionality that you will get once you pair up. But here is the new display. Let's take this off of auto. Here we go. We want to sync. Here's our AC menu there. Let's go here. We're going to take it off auto just so that. So much larger display. If I swipe, I can get different moods. That's going to change my displays. There we go. Just get a little bit of air going. So completely new layout here. My home button brings me back to here. My maps are in the top left corner. Navigation now uses Google Maps services, so until I pair up with the Mercedes Me app, I'm not going to be able to get into there. But just a completely different layout than before. I think these menus look pretty easy to navigate. This is my first time really going through here. This button here is going to take me to my sort of, kind of looks like Apple CarPlay. These are all my apps and my functions, right? So this is configurable so that you can put the things that you use most frequently here. My Burmester surround sound settings are in here. Lots of different presets that I can use. That's pretty cool. I've got service information, parking information, phone, Apple, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Sirius, Bluetooth player, settings. So I really like this app configuration. This is much more like Apple CarPlay right on screen all the time. Of course, you can pair up your phone and get into Apple CarPlay, which would be even better. But let's take a look. Here is the overhead controls. Here is my panorama sunroof. Now, this car does not have the 4D surround sound system, but even still, the speakers here in the A-pillar have a very similar look to the 4D system. It's just that they don't pop out and have that ambient lighting integrated to them like the 4D system will, but it's definitely more pleasing than the black covers in a in the 2026. So without even driving it yet, I can tell you that the technology is definitely an upgrade. And I'm sure after I spend some time in here, I will continue to find new functionality that is easier to use than before. Obviously, the screens are a lot bigger. I understand passenger displays might not be used very often by many, but they do have use cases in case you have passengers that do want to interact with them or watch video, etc. The fit and finish of the interior is exactly what you'd expect. It's fantastic. This, by the way, the car that I'm in right now is a luxury line S-Class. 0 options or upgrades on it whatsoever. So nothing that you are seeing in this car is optional. This is the absolute base level of equipment that you could ever get in an S-Class. So even checking just a few boxes is going to add all kinds of upgraded functionality. You can upgrade the interior further from here if you so desire. 4D surround sound systems, etc. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can add. But the big thing next to go into is going to be, what is the driving experience like? And I'll get into that into a separate video because there's a lot of new driver assistance technologies in this car than what we've had in the past, right? So the telematics systems are vastly improved. But at first glance, what do you think? Which car do you like better? Do you like the styling of the 2027? Do you like the styling of the 2026? Do you like the interior of the 2027? Or do you like the interior of the 2026? One of the other things that I really love is this S500 model that I'm sitting in now, and I mentioned this previously, the MSRP of this car was reduced versus last year. So if you are considering the S500, it's at a much more attractive price point than it was before. And I think that it's good that there is now some additional separation between an S500 and an S580. And yes, I get it. It's an inline 6 and you want the 8. But look, 442 horsepower, 443 pound-feet of torque. This is no slouch, okay? This inline 6 makes a lot more power than many V8s do, and certainly V8s of yesteryear. So it's not for lack of power. Yes, 6-cylinder S-Classes have existed in the past, okay? It's not blasphemy to have a 6-cylinder in the S, although, of course, the V8 is the top dog before you get into the AMGs. So let me know, what do you think? Side by side, the new S-Class versus the 2026, which look do you like better? Because at the end of the day, nobody needs an S-Class. Let's be clear about that. The S-Class is a car that people earn. It is a symbol of success. It is the absolute pinnacle of luxury sedans. You could argue Bentley, Rolls-Royce, that's a whole different level entirely. But those are super limited production. But for a attainable mass-produced vehicle, there is nothing that sits above the S-Class. So when you arrive to wherever it is you're going, are you arriving in the look of the 2027 or the 2026? Let me know.